Buckle up, Buttercup, because we got more leaks from IBM. You knew it was coming. Oh, we have hundreds and hundreds of files and screenshots and emails and Word documents. Oh my, you knew there had to be more leaks coming, and the juicy stuff keeps on rolling out of IBM, unfortunately. It would be great if it just stopped. It would be wonderful and glorious if I suddenly hit a point where all the leaked material was just boring. You know, like, have you remembered to file your TPM reports by Friday? If it was just that, I would just giggle a little bit, write a silly article, and we'd move on. But the stuff that we're uncovering, the stuff that I'm finding is absolutely horrific. It's absolutely horrific, including today we're going to be talking about an anti-white ally pledge. Not kidding. Ally badges for being a good, quote, ally with a capital A, which has a very particular meaning to it, which is kind of a racist, crazy meaning. And the fact that all of these things, the executive pay of IBM executives, their CEOs, their vice presidents, all of them, is directly tied to these programs, to promoting these racist programs. They get bonuses for it from the board of directors. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, all of these come from a number of different whistleblowers. In fact, all of the material today came from one particular whistleblower who will remain anonymous, combined with the 2020 IBM Diversity and Inclusion Report, which is a publicly available report. We pulled the data from the two of those together so that we could really get a clear picture of really what some of this means. And we're going to present that to you now. I've written this as an article over at conservativenerds.locals.com. That's where I'm publishing all of these leaks that are a little bit politically charged about big tech companies. They're all going over at conservativenerds.locals.com. So go grab your free or paid account over there, whichever. I sure wouldn't object to a couple of buckazoids to help support what I do and give me a little extra coffee as I'm trying to pour through these ridiculous number of leaks. But it's great. I can't complain. But if you want to avoid the politics, go to lunduke.locals.com, which is just tech coverage. None of this political stuff, none of these leaks are all over there. All right, I'm going to read this article to you now. This is Article 2 of this set of leaks. This is like the fourth article I've written about the IBM leaks since last week as we've been breaking this news. We have a lot more coming. So this is like Article 4 of I don't know how many of N. It's going to be a lot. The leaks from within IBM and IBM subsidiaries like Red Hat continue to roll in. In the latest round of leaks, we'll be looking at IBM's Embrace program, spelled EMB and then the word race in parentheses. Get it? Huh? Embrace program. Pledges to racist ideas, ally badges, which is really weird, and how IBM executive compensation is directly tied to the success of all of these programs. It's absolutely wild. This is crazy stuff. We're going to begin with the Embrace pledge, which every IBM employee is encouraged to take. I'm going to read this pledge to you in its entirety because it's somewhat fascinating, especially when you drill down into it. Quote, I pledge not to remain silent. I pledge to better understand the Black experience. I pledge to fully embrace race and ethnicity with empathy. I pledge to demonstrate equality through action. I pledge to create safe spaces to speak out. I pledge to be an upstander in every environment. I pledge to become an ally. Now, ally in this case is capital A. L-L-Y, right? It's not lowercase ally. It's not the dictionary definition of ally. It's a capital A. So we have to really drill down into this here because you're pledging to become a capital A ally, which has a different meaning than what Webster says ally means. Luckily, we know what ally means according to IBM because as we learned through previous leaks, a core part of being an ally is embracing an anti-white viewpoint, including the concept that, quote, only white people are racist, and that, quote, white people are the oppressors because we feed and thrive on power at the expense of other races, end quote. Again, this is according to IBM. Go back to the allyship kickoff presentation. Again, a presentation literally entitled Allyship Kickoff, which clearly defines ally. Well, I should say it doesn't clearly define ally. What it does is have dozens of rambling slides with lots and lots of paragraphs and paragraphs of notes about being an ally. But the vast majority of those notes and slides specifically deal with all of the ways being a white person is evil. Like the ways white people hurt people, the ways white people steal things from people, the way white people should feel bad about being white people, right? It's a very, very big focus. In fact, it talks about the badness of white people more than it talks about any other topic, right? When IBM and Red Hat are defining the word ally with a capital A, the one thing, the very one thing, the only thing that they drive home dozens and dozens and dozens of times is that white is bad. Okay. So that much we know. So if you are pledging to become an ally, what does that mean? Well, IBM here is asking their employees to take a pledge to not just agree with that viewpoint, but to actively promote it. So this is effectively IBM telling their employees to take an anti-white pledge. This is very, very clear here. They are saying, take an I pledge to be anti-white. That's what they're saying here. Now, that's not me trying to put words into their mouth. That's me trying to understand what they're saying here. I would like to make a very clear point. This is based on a very, very careful, detailed understanding of what they are trying to say. If IBM would like to disagree with the Lunduk Journal's assessment on this pledge, I encourage IBM representatives to reach out and point out which portion of the IBM definition of ally with a capital A, which IBM and Red Hat have clearly defined as being anti-white, is incorrect. If IBM disagrees with me, if Red Hat disagrees with me, let me know. Have an official representative from your company contact me. Tell me I'm wrong and tell me what the definition of ally is and how ally is not anti-white and how and what portion of the ally kickoff presentation that Red Hat and IBM is disavowing in order to make that the case. Right? So contact me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty confident, based on the materials that have been leaked from IBM and Red Hat, that is exactly right. Now, it gets worse. It actually gets worse. According to the 2020 IBM Diversity and Inclusion Report, IBM has created a system of badges to showcase who has taken the pledge and become a good ally. This is not a joke. This is a screenshot here from the 2020 Diversity Report. And there's badges. There's badges. Multiple badges are made available from IBM, including the Be Equal Ambassador Badge, the LGBT Plus Ally Championship Badge, and the Neurodiversity Ally Badge. Those who do not actively promote the allyship ideas to the satisfaction of IBM management will not receive a badge. Okay, all right. So there will be people in IBM, some of them who will be good allies, and they will have a badge. And some of them will not be good allies, and they will not have a badge. They will be the naughty ones. Now, specific actions relating to becoming an ally, promoting allyship, and the embrace, again, with race in parentheses program, are recommended to IBM employees. Now, here's a screenshot from an internal IBM leak. Listen to Black IBMers. Deepen your understanding and manage your bias. Become an equal ambassador. Learn how to be an ally. Again, capital A. And that's what they do. And capital A. Visit the Embrace page. Better understand the histories. Use your code to do the Call for Code Embrace Spot Challenge, which is the idea is that you develop some software that I think hurts white people. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me. It's like a racial justice coding competition. I don't know. It's very weird. They encourage you to watch videos from the Black Executive Council, just a wide variety of things. They give you ways that you can help earn your badge. Now, according to one whistleblower speaking to the Lunduk Journal on the condition of anonymity, these actions were partly mandatory and partly optional. Some mandatory, some optional. But if you wanted a promotion, they were effectively mandatory, right? Now in our previous leak, we showed how a lot of the training was mandatory. So there's mandatory items and not mandatory items. But if you don't get a badge, well, you're going to have a hard time getting a raise. You're going to have a hard time getting a promotion, right? Your reviews are not going to be great. So effectively, all of this is mandatory. Espousing these political ideas is mandatory within IBM, effectively. Now I got a screenshot here of an internal IBM Slack channel list that was leaked to us, showing the Embrace and the Embrace Take Action Slack channels with some 6,700 odd members there in that Slack channel. In addition, internal communication channels were set up on Slack specifically to discuss and promote Embrace topics and earning ally badges, including those specifically for Black Lives Matter and other political causes, in line with the anti-white allyship, capital A, definition. Below you'll find a screenshot of a post which includes reference to some of them, along with the PowerPoint and Word documents with names like Making the IBM Embrace Pledge and multiple diversity inclusion documents. I'm including the screenshot here. Again, this is from a link. Now, the reason I'm including this here, and I'll be publishing some additional screenshots around this as we go forward in the coming days and weeks ahead. These sorts of things are pushed rather heavily. You find references to encouraging people to push taking the Embrace pledge, about pledging to be a good capital A ally, and then here's documents that will help you to do it better, over and over and over again. It gets talked about rather quite a lot, and so I wanted to include a screenshot of that here to start getting some of that information out there, because it feels very forceful. It feels very, very forceful, including at the executive levels. So IBM executives and management sent out emails actively promoting the Embrace program. See below an email from Jim Whitehurst, then president of IBM. Previously, he was the CEO of Red Hat prior to the Red Hat acquisition, where he, as the president of IBM, tells staff that he learns from Embrace and he hopes you do too. In this week's video, I share a lesson learned from an Embrace session that I attended and the need to create safe spaces for open conversations. I believe creating these spaces are important to fostering a more diverse and welcoming environment at IBM. I hope you do too. Lots of these sorts of messages go out. Now, on the surface, many of these messages are somewhat benign. They say simple things like, "Here, this is an important video for all of us to be watching. Here's an important article for everyone to read and internalize," and things along those lines get mentioned a great deal by directors and vice presidents and other people with very, very, very awesome sounding titles. But what this really shows is that the top level brass, the bosses, are telling all the people that work beneath them, here's the thing you need to be thinking. Here's the way you need to think. Here's the ideas you need to have. Here are the opinions you need to have in or outside of IBM. And you really need to be taking that pledge. You need to get those badges. It's very strange. It's very, very peculiar. So I did a little more digging into this. The IBM executives, I should also, before I divert, I know Jim Whitehurst. He and I have done multiple shows together, in fact. If you've seen Linux Sucks 2016, Jim Whitehurst, who is a very funny guy, very smart guy, appeared in a video clip in Linux Sucks 2016 as when he was the CEO of Red Hat. Great sense of humor on him. Did a show with me. No one from IBM or Red Hat though has returned my calls. All right, I continue. So I dug into this a little bit further. And IBM executives pushing this narrative, right? Actively pushing people to go to the Embrace page, take the pledge, get the ally badges, be a good ally. Well, it turns out that those pushing that narrative, they are actively encouraged to do so by the IBM board of directors through financial incentives. This is very, very real. So this is in the public too. This is out in the open. From the 2020 IBM Diversity and Inclusion Report, quote, compensation for our C-suite and all IBM executives is calculated in part based on their organization's progress in improving diversity for women and underrepresented minorities. In addition, in 2021, the IBM Board of Directors added a diversity modifier to the company's annual incentive program to reinforce senior management's focus on improving a diverse representation of our workforce, end quote. So the key part there is compensation for all IBM executives is calculated in part based on their organization's progress on improving diversity. That's right. IBM executive pay is based, at least in part, on how effective the IBM employees embrace diversity training, diversity hiring, and programs like Embrace. It's very, very real. I've included a screenshot of the full statement there. It's all interesting and it's all worth reading. I'm going to skip most of it for now, but you can go check it all out at again conservativenerds.locals.com. So I want to go over a few things that we know now, because we've had multiple leaks that have been published by the Lunduk Journal at this point. We've had the presentations. We've had several leaks of emails and internal Slack messages, and we've covered the diversity reports and all this different stuff. What do we know? What can we actually walk away from this saying we know these things? Well, okay, number one, we know that IBM has internal presentations focused on the evils of being white. That's not an assumption. That's not really even putting words in their mouths. They use like 25 different synonyms, not that many, but quite a few, of evil about being white. I mean, they made it very clear that white is bad, and they have whole presentations that make it very clear that those presentations were sanctioned and supported by IBM and Red Hat leadership, declaring that being white is evil, right? And that the idea that white is evil is what allyship is all about, right? That's very, very clear. We also know that IBM has internal book clubs where they read anti-white books. Strange. It's a strange thing to do, to have anti-white presentations and anti-white book clubs. It's bizarre. We also know, number three, that diversity training is mandatory within IBM. It's not something you can get away from. It's mandatory. What exactly is in that diversity training, we don't know. It could be wonderful and roses and frolicking through fields of flowers. Or it could be more of what we've already seen, which is white people are evil. Right? I mean, that's what we've seen so far, is a lot of white people are evil. So is it more of that? I think it's a fair assumption to say that it seems likely that diversity training is a lot more of that white people are evil. But we don't know for sure, right? Because we need to be honest with ourselves about this. We're not going to make logical leaps about this. We're going to state what we know and what we don't know. We don't know exactly what is in those diversity trainings. And we know that there is at least three components, three phases to the diversity training, but we don't have access to any of those three plans. If anyone out there has copies or screenshots of diversity training within Red Hat, IBM, or subsidiaries, please contact the Lunduke Journal. You can email me directly, Bryan, that's my name, Brian, at lunduke.com, Lunduke. It's right there on the screen. And you get a hold of me. I will keep everything strictly confidential, as I do with all whistleblowers. And then we'll know for sure what's in that diversity training. Now, it could be that, again, what's in there is wonderful. If that's the case, I encourage IBM to send it to me directly. And let's just publish it. I'll publish it in full. I won't even modify it in any way. If IBM sends me the diversity training, I will simply post it and let the world look at it and make up their own mind. Fair? Number 4, employees are encouraged, IBM employees are encouraged to make a public pledge to IBM's anti-white definition of allyship. That's weird. Taking a public pledge against any skin color, ethnicity, gender, whatever. That's weird. I don't like that. That makes me creeped out. If this was an anti-South Korean pledge, I'd be just as creeped out right now. If this was an anti-Sudanese pledge, I'd be creeped out right now. If this is an anti-Mexican pledge, I'd be creeped out right now. This is not okay. I'm not going to go around making pledges against a particular ethnic group or whatever you want to call it just because my employer tells me to. Bizarre. Truly, truly bizarre. Number 5, employees who promote such ideas and actively take the pledge and go through the steps and actions as outlined by IBM are rewarded with badges. They're basically given trophies. They're given little achievement awards. They've gamified this. And those who do not promote those ideas do not get the badges. There's the good allies and people who are not good allies. That's not okay. Now, number 6, executive compensation is tied directly to IBM employees adhering to and promoting these ideas, including in hiring and firing decisions. Oh man, there's like 15 different ways that you smell that? That's lawsuits. I can smell lawsuits. Oh my word, can I smell lawsuits? Woof. I mean, this is ridiculous stuff. Now, what we have learned here from one of the oldest and biggest big tech companies is really disturbing. It's racist. It's not nice. It's just kind of mean. It's strange. It's not logical. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. But it is what it is. Now, I've provided links here. If you go to conservativenerds.locals.com and you look at this particular article, you'll find links to other leaked articles that I've published over the last few days. Again, this is the beginning. This is the very, very beginning of all of this. If no new information comes in, if no additional leaked information comes from any whistleblowers, I'm going to be at this for a while because the amount of data I've got is huge. It's gigantic. I mean, it's hundreds of documents that I've got to pour through. And my hope is that more come in because honestly, there are some holes, at least that we have at this point, that need to be filled in our knowledge of all of this. Like what exactly is in the diversity training? Let's find out for sure. Maybe it's great and wonderful. Maybe it is exactly what we think it is, and it's more racism. Let's find out for sure. A couple of notes. I mentioned these before, but a few notes here are important. The Lunduke Journal is absolutely adamant about protecting the identities of the whistleblowers. This is critical. If you are a whistleblower, if you want to come forward, you should feel comfortable doing so. I do not tell anyone anyone's name. Your information is not stored on a server, so it cannot be requisitioned by someone else. Once I receive the whistleblown material, it is taken off the server immediately and stored locally and encrypted. and that is that. And I do not reveal those identities at all. Content that is leaked to the Lunduke Journal is very carefully vetted prior to publication. You notice we published just a few in this particular article. And in the previous article, we published a couple more, and we've got more coming. In the next one, there will be a couple more still, because I want to make sure that it's all legit. And luckily, so far, everything has been. No one's provided any bogus material. People inside of IBM have helped me to verify this material. People inside of Red Hat have helped me verify this material. And some of it's been fairly easy to verify on my own. And it's just good, legit material. But I also need context of it, because I need to understand the context of these emails and messages and screenshots and slideshows, so that I can understand really what it means. So we're not just, speaking out of nothing and just making stuff up. We need to know in the context of all of this material. And so I'm taking the time to go through all of it, catalog it, sort it, index it, vet it, and I've been reaching out to Red Hat, IBM, and other big tech companies for comment on some of this material prior to publishing, because I want their comments, because this is not about playing a gotcha game. This is about publishing what needs to be published, real material, real activities inside some of the biggest big tech companies and foundations on planet Earth, and shining a light where there really needs to be a light shown. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and this needs to happen. I should also say that whistleblowers from big tech companies or foundations can contact me directly via email, Brian, Bryan, @lunduke.com. I can't guarantee I'm going to get right back to you. I get a lot of emails. But if you send me, a document archive and the like, or if you have, a story to tell from within inside these companies, get a hold of me and let's talk, and I will keep your identity confidential. A huge thanks to everyone who's come out so far and provide all of this documentation. It's absolutely fantastic. Before we head off, if you do not have a subscription to conservativenerds.locals.com, do so. At least the free subscription. You can pick up also a what we call a triple pass subscription. If you go to lunduke.com, you'll find links to all three arms of the Lunduke Journal, right? The Conservative Nerds, Lunduke, and nerdyentertainment.locals.com, right? Each one, it has a different focus. The only one where politics is discussed is conservativenerds.locals.com, but you can pick up a triple pass there, which gives you access to all three of them for the year. You can also get a lifetime pass there, where you can just pay once, have access to all three of them for the rest of your natural life or your unnatural life. I mean, I guess if you get uploaded into some sort of a sentience machine, you can live forever and you get access forever. That's a loophole. I didn't think about that one. Whatever. But you can go check out all the details there. It's a good way to go. Grab a paid subscription if you want to support the work, if you want to get some of the exclusives that come out. Some of the shows are exclusive. Some of the articles are exclusive. I'm trying to make most of these whistleblown leaked material articles free for everybody, because I think this information is just far too important to get out there. So I'm not locking any of that up, but there are some additional articles that you will probably find interesting that are going to be exclusive to you. So go ahead and grab a subscription, support the work that I do. It means the world. It allows me to buy more caffeinated beverages so I can stay up going through all of these documents and presenting them to all of you. All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes, with that I do declare, end broadcast.